है वतन हमको तेरी कसम, तेरी राहों में जहाँ तक लुटा जाएंगे, भूल क्या
Bose, Subhash Chandra Bose, the most important reason that forced the British to leave India, the entire undivided India. To know how, let's go back to 1857, 20 years before Bose was born. The fierce armed struggle of 1857 by the Indian soldiers had almost uprooted the British from India, making them realize that had the Indian effort all across the country been better coordinated and led by a worthy and inspiring leader of a national stature, the British wouldn't have had any chance whatsoever. They also realized the might of the Indian soldier, and that only as long as the Indian soldier didn't go against them, they could rule India. So from there on, the British did everything to keep the Indian soldier loyal to them. On the other hand, the non-violent, peaceful freedom struggle launched by some Indian leaders actually helped the British in preventing any discontent or rebellion by the Indian soldiers for two reasons. Firstly, because the Indian leaders had completely ruled out any armed struggle, and hence the Indian soldier saw no role for him in India's freedom movement. And secondly, like all Indians, the soldier too trusted Gandhi and his associates that they were doing their best, doing it right, and freedom was on its way. But the same leaders who ruled out any armed struggle by the soldiers for sake of India told them to fight all around the world for the sake of British in both the world wars. And both the times, the British once again witnessed the valor of the Indian soldiers and felt fortunate that they were fighting alongside them and not against them. The mere thought of fighting against the Indian soldiers was scary. Now coming back to Bose, who with a burning desire to fight for India's freedom, joined the Indian National Congress and rose to become its president in 1938. He became so popular that in 1939, despite being openly opposed by Gandhi and Nehru, was once again elected as the Congress president. Bose by now had begun to understand the British game and also the ineffectiveness of the Indian non-violent struggle against them, and he was getting desperate to throw the British out. So when the Second World War began, Bose saw in it an opportunity of a lifetime. He wanted the Congress to serve a 6-month ultimatum on the British to leave India. But the party under Mahatma Gandhi's leadership refused to put any pressure on the British. The difference of opinions led to Bose's ouster from the Congress. In the meantime, right from the time Bose had come into prominence, the British saw qualities in him possessed with which, if a man had led the 1857 armed rebellion, would have meant curtains for the British Raj then itself. But now, with Gandhi-led leadership at the helm of affairs, ruling out any armed struggle, the British saw no reason to worry. And they did not foresee anyone growing beyond the shadows of Gandhi. But Bose was fast becoming the most popular leader, not just in the party, but also in the entire country. He was growing taller in stature than any other leader, including Gandhi. The British now weren't taking any chances with him. So after Bose was released from jail for the 11th time, they put him under house arrest. But their underestimation of Bose had just begun. He escaped not just from his house, but India as well. The British, though, still felt no reason to worry, because Bose from outside India didn't seem to be a threat to them in India. And in the absence of Bose, people in India had no choice but to follow the Gandhi-led leadership. The docile and harmless kind of leadership the British were very comfortable handling and dealing with. And for Bose, in a foreign land, with no support even from the leadership of his own country, the British thought it was all over. Because even in their wildest of their dreams, they couldn't have imagined what Bose could do. Bose went around meeting leaders of the world, talking, negotiating, strategizing like a leader, a warrior, and a statesman. With tremendous self-belief a clear vision and a roadmap for India's freedom and beyond, he formed the Azad Hind Fauj, the Indian National Army. On 21st October 1943, he also formed the first independent government of India, Azad Hind Sarkar, and became the first Prime Minister of India, the only one of the undivided India. In 1944, leading the Indian National Army, Bose, along with the Japanese army, came down to Myanmar with the plan to enter India from its east and liberate it. The people in India by now had begun to realize the futility of the non-violent method of freedom struggle. They were getting impatient.
I do not know how many of us who are going to participate in the coming battles will survive to see India free.
And when Subhash Chandra Bose gave the clarion call, "Tum mujhe khoon do, main tumhe azadi dunga. You give me blood, I'll give you freedom." People saw hope. An unstoppable uprising was imminent. The British now had begun to realize what Bose was all about. That he was the kind of man they had been dreading all along since 1857. Now he was here and coming. The British began to develop cold feet. Shivers went down their spine and the spine of some leaders in India as well. But then a few unfortunate events, including the Nagasaki-Hiroshima bombings, happened and the Japanese surrendered on 15th August 1945. The British and even some Indian leaders heaved a sigh of relief. For Bose, they thought it was finally all over. But they underestimated him once again. Because Bose was made of a different metal altogether. To fight or not wasn't even a question in his mind. How to fight was. And with the Japanese having given up, he immediately began to look elsewhere for an answer. Now, for the British and some other powers as well, Bose was becoming too much to handle. And none of his adversaries had the courage to take him on in a fair battle, including the political battle. Hence, they planned a deceit, decided to stab him in the back. Bose, on 18th August 1945, just 2 days after the Japanese surrender, took off in a plane for USSR with the aim of getting their help for his battle. As the plane came down in Taiwan for refueling, Bose mysteriously disappeared, or was kidnapped and made to disappear. But Bose by then had done enough to fire the imagination of an entire nation. The Indian soldiers in the British military began to rebel. Mutiny began in the Navy, Air Force, Army, and the rest of the country. The British knew their time was up. The game was over. They declared to give India freedom. Bose, Subhash Chandra Bose, the most important reason that forced the British to leave India. In an interview to BBC in 1955, that's what Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar said.
I do not know how suddenly Mr. Attlee agreed to give independence. That's a matter of secret which Mr. Attlee one day I think will disclose. It seems to me from the analysis that I make about it, the national army that was raised by Subhash Chandra Bose.
In a conversation with the governor of Bengal in 1956, that's what Clement Richard Attlee, who as the Prime Minister of Britain had agreed to give India freedom, said. And that is what Lieutenant General S.K. Sinha, who was posted in the Directorate of Military Operations in New Delhi when Britain decided to give India freedom, also said. There are 3 stories as to when and where did Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose die. As per 2 of them, destiny chose his death to happen in a foreign land. And as per the last one, destiny left the choice to him. And he chose. He chose to discreetly come back to India. not to claim any redemption or credit for what he had done, not for any fame or favor, not even to meet his near and dear ones, but to anonymously, in disguise, just live, breathe, and die on his motherland, India, that is Bharat.